Hi Yes Prep, this is Ms. Dow. I'm the Director of Student Culture here at Yes Prep, and I'm excited to share about time management in this week's advisory lesson. For today's lesson, you will need to have out the device that you're working on, your agenda, and a writing utensil. This week's session objectives include identifying key strategies to maximize time efficiency through consistent use of your calendar and to-do list. Create a daily time management structure using your agenda and time management quadrant. And then lastly, commit to at least one key strategy to allow you to effectively manage your personal and school priorities. Before we jump into the session, I want you to take a moment to reflect. Why do you think managing your time at home and at school is important? What happens if you do not manage your time well? You can use the following sentence stems. I think time management is important because when you do not manage time well, then let's jump to our do second. I want you to take some time to write down and review your current to-do. Consider the following categories: big projects or tests you have coming up, recurring tasks, and personal tasks. Now that you have your list, let's review some of these questions. What are some issues with your current way of capturing your to-dos? When do you have work time, and how do you decide which to-do to complete first? In this session, we're going to talk about different ways to capture your to-do list and ways that you can identify which task needs to be completed first, second, third, or later on. Your to-do list is where you capture all your tasks that you need to complete. This list can't be too long. If it's too long, you won't do all of the things on there, and you'll feel like you didn't do enough. It can't be blank, obviously. It can't be too short with things that you don't need to write down. And you must keep all of your to-dos in one place. You can't keep your to-do list in different places. Your perfect to-do list should be paper or electronic, but not both. Different modes work for different people. It should be all in one place. When you have multiple lists in different places, it becomes difficult to find and therefore difficult to ensure that every task is completed. Make sure that you have a place to write long-term goals, actions, thoughts, short-term goals, and customize it to your needs. What works for one person might not work for another. You can use your agenda, your phone, a bullet journal, or even post-it notes that you write out daily and throw away when you're done with your list. You ultimately need to find a way that works best for you. Your calendar lays out your time commitments and deadlines in one easy-to-access location. Always calendar in time to do whatever is written on your to-do list, even small things. Blocking out time on the calendar to complete your tasks will build out how you spend your day. Think about it like your class schedule. You always know what class to go to because it's on your calendar. You will do the same thing for your tasks. Calendar in important dates and assignments. That means write down your homework assignments and calendar in that unit exam. Use your calendar and your to-do list together. Your calendar should include deadlines, class schedules like homeroom, class, lunch activities, advisory, tutorials. Work schedule. If you're working, then you should schedule in your calendar the times that you'll be working to map out your week and see when you're available for other things. Self-meetings. We'll get into more detail in the next slide. Work time. Plan out blocks of time when you're able to get uninterrupted time to complete your tasks. Do you think you should schedule in your personal items on your calendar? Yes. Personal events, holidays, no school, and activities that you're doing with your families and friends, write it into your calendar. Take time to meet with yourself each day, and each week is important. Self-meeting is a time for yourself to reflect and evaluate what's working and what's not working. This is when you should adjust your to-do list, add to it, and cross off from it. It is also a time for you to adjust your calendar as necessary. Time management is the process of organizing and planning how you divide your time between specific activities. Good time management enables you to work smarter, not harder. So when you get more done in less time, even when time is tight and pressure is high. Good time management allows you to accomplish more in shorter amount of time, which leads to more free time. And more time in your schedule allows you to take advantage of learning opportunities, lower your stress levels, and helps you focus, which leads to more success and improves other aspects of your life. Let's do a quick check for understanding. What is time management? When a task is urgent and critical, deciding if something is a big rock or a little rock, planning your time or juggling your time. If you said planning your time, you are correct. Time management is planning out your time. A critical time factor or situation is extremely important. It is associated to the level of value you have for the activity, and it is aligned to your goals that you have for yourself. Let's do another check for understanding. How do you define if something is critical? Associated with the level of value, how important something is, the amount of time you have to do something, planning your time, a big rock. If you said associated with the level of value or how important something is, then you are correct. Something that is critical is also something that is important. Urgent, calling for immediate attention. If there's urgency to a situation, it is pressing and you have to respond quickly. It is associated to the amount of time you have to complete a task. The less time you have, the more urgent it is. Let's check for another understanding. How do you define if something is urgent? It is associated with a level of value, how important something is, the amount of time you have to do something, planning your time, a big rock. If you said the amount of time you have to do something, then you are correct. The amount of time determines how urgent or how quickly you need to resolve that task. Now you have a set of tools that you can implement to help you manage your time well. You have your list and your calendar. You understand what time management is, how to determine if something is critical or urgent. What do you do with all this information? How do you determine what to do first? First, make a list of the things that you need to do. Second, put it in a time management quadrant box. Third, use your quadrant box to decide what to do first. The time management quadrant box is broken into 4 quadrants or boxes. The first box is very critical and very urgent. You must do this first. Tasks that you need to manage. Real crises or emergencies, last-minute preparations, or meaningful appointments, like upcoming deadlines or exams. The second box is very critical, but not urgent. You do this next. These are tasks that you need to focus on. Things that you need to plan, problem solve around, or invest time to self-develop, invest in your health, do self-care, or build relationships. The third box is not very critical, but urgent. This is something you can do later. Tasks to avoid if possible. These are things like interruptions, text messages, phone calls, notifications. And our last box is not critical and not urgent. Do not do. So tasks that you need to limit. Trivial things, time wasters. Social media, watching TV, or playing games for hours. Let's practice together. Here's a to-do list. Put the tasks in the boxes that you think are applicable. Here's my to-do list. Play Among Us. Study for tomorrow's exam. Text my best friend. Plan my mom's birthday party. I know it's tempting to play Among Us as a very critical and very urgent task because you want to do it now. But the reality is, this task is not critical and not urgent. If you have extra time in your schedule, sure, play a game or two, but limit yourself to allow yourself time to accomplish other priorities. You would want to study for your exam now because it's very important and its deadline is coming up. Then you would want to spend some time planning that birthday party because it's very important or critical, but you still have some time to do it. After you're done with that, then go ahead and text your best friend back. Finally, if you have time left in your day, play Among Us if you want. Whatever you decide to do, have a plan and stick to it. Make this time sacred as possible. Put it in your calendar like other commitments. Celebrate when you accomplish something, and plan for what you want to finish next. In closing, what is one thing you're going to do differently leaving this session to help you manage your time better? Make sure you have your answers so that you can share with your advisory group. Plan to complete your exit ticket by the end of this week. Thank you so much for joining this week's advisory lesson on time management.